Guys, thank you so much for coming in here to see me at Body by Design. Okay, this video series is a little bit more serious compared to the couple other ones I've done, and this topic is going to cover depression. I'm going to do a video series on anxiety and behavioral therapy and stuff like that a little bit later on down the road, but for now we're going to kind of look at it as a whole, and it's going to be focusing on depression. So with this series, I want you to look at this with an open mind, whether you are depressed or whether you're not depressed, but especially if it's really, really bad. Okay, I'm probably going to be making light of a few things and cracking half inappropriate jokes every now and again because this is who I am, and it's sort of how I develop my mindset to beat my own depression. So please try not to take any sort of offense to it. I'm really not trying to attack you personally or offend you in any way. Please just take whatever information that sort of makes sense that I'm saying to you and take it away and put it to practice. Also, this series would really accompany my peak performance series, where I get into how to keep positive and sort of how to keep on track, you know what I mean, for my go-getters out there that sometimes have some downtime that they can't afford to have. So I guess I'll tell you a little bit about my experience and why I think, it's appropriate for me to be giving you said information. I was, definitely chronically depressed for most of my life. After I tracked it all down, it definitely started from a very young age, 6, 7 years old, and progressed to get worse with time. Like you hear me say in past videos, they say that people have truly made up their mind about the world and how the world is by the time you're 12 years old. So if you come from a traumatic background or a very poor background, very poor parents, you've probably lived a fairly traumatic life up to this point. And if things didn't get any better at that point, they actually got worse. And then as you got older, you were able to make it more worse for yourself. It probably just snowballed. And so you're probably finding yourself now in your 20s, your 30s, your 40s, even your 50s, still behaving like an adolescent. And what I mean by that is you're still viewing the world from a hurt child a lot of the times. This is excluding if, you're on any sort of medical drugs for a long time, especially like painkillers and stuff, really leads to depression after a while because you're chronically in pain for so long. I'm talking about like lifestyle, being born into some place that really wasn't underneath your control. Okay? So these things have a tendency to stick with us for a long time. And you'll hear me say again and again and again that we're always telling ourselves a story, and we're actually just playing a character inside of a story that we're telling ourselves. So if you're finding yourself completely in the dumper all the time, it's probably just a bad story. I mean, me personally, I can really say that it took me years to really master beating depression. And then once I managed to do it and change the faulty patterns and replace bad habits with good habits, things skyrocketed after that. Like I can tell you personally that it is worth you putting in, a few months, a couple of years, worth of practice and knowingly taking practice of this stuff that I'm about to share with you, okay? Having the understanding that you have to look at this from an open mind and really admit that there is a problem, just like if you had to lose some weight, and that it's time to put it into your goals, into your long-term plan, learn to be happy. You'll always hear me say, if you want to know something, you have to study it. So if you want to be happier, you got to study happiness. You got to go find people that are happy and figure out why they're happy and go be happy with them. If you're always miserable and the people at your work are always miserable and you're always around miserable people at home, of course you're not happy. And life can be so much better than that. Like you're really cutting yourself short. Okay? My depression was really bad. It probably got as worse as depression could possibly get for a single person. It's like when you try to do positive things and think positive and work your 2, 3 jobs, but nothing ever works and things keep fucking up. I'm willing to almost bet that it's not so much the world. I mean, some things happen that we can't stop. I understand this. But a lot of the times, the small choices that you make lead up to big things later on. So probably a lot of the time you were in a shitty state, made a shitty choice on a small decision, and it just snowballed. And then as you try to walk away from this stuff, what happens is that your problem stays right where it was, and now you're walking backwards. So whenever you gather the strength again to hit the road and try to make a positivity climb, you're miles and miles back. Now you've got to make your way through this shit, then past this problem, then back onto another problem that was waiting beyond the other problem. You see what I'm saying? See what can happen after years and years of this? So what I've studied over the years is a lot of cognitive behavioral therapy, lots of relationship and interrelationship stuff. What I mean by interrelationship, like how you view yourself, like being grateful, being joyful, being able to give, being able to receive is actually what I find the hardest part in people. I find a lot of my clients that are depressed have absolutely zero issue with giving. In fact, they have a tendency to give too much and don't let anybody give to them. And I can definitely speak for that personally. I would give anybody anything, any point in time. I would go work, to the bone for people and never let anybody give back to me. So by doing that, it pretty much makes me a martyr. It means that I'm experiencing joy from giving to you, but I'm not letting you experience the joy of giving to me. You know what I mean? And that can really backlash in life. NLP is really good too. Neuro-linguistics programming. You might want to check that stuff out. Depression for Dummies was really good. Anxiety for Dummies was really good. And what I can say first and foremost is that, like anything, you have to make a choice or a decision and really look yourself in the face and get real and be like, there is an issue here. If you're always angry and you're always finding a reason to be angry, you are depressed. If you are always happy and extremely happy and you're never able to sort of feel down, there's probably an issue there. Now, I'm not saying you might be that happy, but I'm saying a lot of the times people that are that happy are really sad on the inside, and they're doing everything they can to make everybody else happy and not really showing how sad they are on the inside. Like, how many times do we see famous singers and actors and stuff who give a lot to everybody else, and then all of a sudden they die from like a drug overdose or something? You know what I mean? It comes in many, many forms. If you're very blah and you don't get overly passionate about things, or you don't get really, really low about things, that's definitely a form of depression too. I mean, you really need to be able to feel highs. You know what I mean? Highs of being grateful, being joyful, being thankful for the people and things in your life. And, really making a conscious effort here. This video is definitely going a little bit longer than I wanted it to, but anyways, guys, so again, I'm really not trying to offend anybody here. I hope these videos help. Please like and share these videos. I take depression and other mental illnesses, I know people don't like that word, to heart. I'm speaking definitely from my heart. And I can tell you from my experience with all my other clients and everything good I've ever read, your first step is to get active. Your first step is to go get some exercise, to go eat some good food, to make a game plan. And inside of this game plan, make fighting depression one of them. Okay? Pick a spot, man, whatever needs to be fixed most, and just go at it. Alright, guys? Again, this is Josh from Body by Design. And it's never too late to live the life you could have lived. Let's take action.